Welcome, everybody, to a new episode, a new week of Two Chaps, Many Cultures. And today we will be talking about this ancient place, the capital of the Roman Empire, the city of Rome, La Città Eterna, where we go and have to be like Romans. Or do we? Let's find out.
How are you, mate?
Hello, buongiorno, buonasera. Come stai? Are we in Rome yet? No.
No, don't think so. Molto buono. Yeah, very good.
Did you know how to be a Roman?
Well, when I was in Italy, we didn't go to Rome. So, because I was scared of that whole thing, I thought if I have to go to Rome, then I got to be a Roman, and I don't know how to do that. So, I'm going to drive around, and I'll just keep going. That's what I did.
So, does that mean that when we go to Florence, we have to be Fiorentinian, and if we go to Venice, we have to be Venetian? And so, if I go to Sydney, I have to do as I don't know, what's the name for people from Sydney? The Sydneyans?
Cool.
Cool. Oh, yeah. I have to. Good one. Winner. I have to be like a cool one.
So yes, when you come to Sydney, you got to be cool. But no, all jokes aside, yes. There is this famous saying, is there not? When in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I guess we try and think about that in terms of what do we have to do when we go to a place, when we're either visiting. I mean, vacation's a new thing. You can fake it a little bit for a week or so. You can pretend in the place that you're in that you're taking on the culture. But what if you're there for a longer period of time and you actually have to do business and you have to engage in a social setting with people? What is appropriate to do as the Romans do in any setting or in any place in the world, and what is not? And when does it become disingenuous?
I mean, I have this in my circle of friends, right? My wife and I were friends with an Italian family who live here in Atlanta, and Manuela, she's originally from Rome, and her husband is from another province in Italy. He's from Le Marche, so he's not Roman whatsoever, but she's quite Roman, and she doesn't let people know, but sometimes she tells people, hey, well, Rome, that's where I'm from. So she told us that her husband is not Roman, right? And he doesn't act like a Roman. He's Italian, sure, but he's not Roman. So even for Italians, if you're not from Rome, it's quite hard to be Roman, right? And I want to be fair, right? So the gentleman who's attributed with that quote, who apparently came up with that idea, this is what he looked like. According to 16th century artists, we don't know if that's what he looked like, but this is Augustinus of Hippo, from a place in northern Africa, which is now, I guess, Algeria. I'm not sure if he actually looked like that. I think this is what white European artists thought a gentleman from northern Africa would look like. Apparently, he was a Berber ethnically, and he was sanctified by the Roman Catholic Church. So he's St. Augustine. What's the proper term? St. Augustine, I believe, right? There's even a city in Florida named after this gentleman, and he coined the phrase, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Now, I guess there was some presupposition that back then in the Roman Empire, it would be advisable to adhere to the rules and regulations and norms of the capital city of the entire empire. Sure. But over the course of the centuries, this has become this catch-all phrase for people who travel or go about their business around the globe to adjust to the local norms. How far can you bend yourself, Brett? Could I bend myself to become cool. I mean,
Mm.
from like as if I was from Sydney.
Well, you know, I'm going to assume that our good friend St. Augustine came a little bit before Gerd Hofstede, and
Yeah, a little bit.
therefore maybe didn't read any of the books. So
Yeah.
didn't have the advantage of having the experience of intercultural work behind him. That being said, yes, I mean, I guess if you think about there are stereotypes that we obviously rail against in this world. Not rail against, but we're aware of certain stereotypes that we hold if we haven't been to a place. So there is one danger. One danger is that you take hold of that stereotype and you then go and say, well, when I go to this place, I'm going to be that. I'm going to exist as that stereotype I know in this setting, and therefore show up. Now, you with no guarantee that that stereotype actually still exists. You know, it may have existed at one time. There may be a small part of truth to that stereotype, but usually that's a caricature of the culture that you're going to. So you can actually cause yourself some embarrassment, and we want people to not be embarrassed, right? I often say to people, right? Well, I often say to people, you know. When I hear somebody not from Australia say "g'day, mate" or that kind of thing, it kind of hurts my ears. There's a physical pain that goes on.
I think I've done that before.
Well, yeah, but but I don't know. I mean, there's certain things, at certain times you can get away with it. And what I say to people is that, yes, it's a stereotype. Yes, we do say "g'day." It's part of our natural kind of interactions with each other, but it seems to flow off the tongue, and there are other things you could use rather than the "g'day, mate," to express yourself in that setting, because we don't expect everybody, if you're not Australian, to go around saying "g'day, mate." In fact, it could be annoying if you did so.
So we don't have to bend completely to the behaviors of the location we're entering. That's, I think, right, the point that you and I want to make here. Yes, you do want to adhere to the laws of the place. So yeah, apparently they drive on the wrong side in Sydney. So do that as you go there. Okay, so don't act against the laws and the rules on site. But that doesn't mean that you try to be like an Australian if you can't be that. And I think there's a deeper sense of how we view power and influence in the 21st century as compared to the 4th and 5th centuries, when St. Augustine actually lived. So this old adage has been around for 1600 years now, but it assumes that the power of an era, in that case Roman Empire, is what we, the underlings, have to submit to and have to respect and set aside our rules and norms. And we don't live in those times anymore. And it also, I think, falsely assumes from a historical point of view that Rome as an empire was this homogeneous, huge territory that spanned across the Mediterranean, Europe, Northern Africa, into Asia. And it was not. We all know it was a multicultural, political, and military construct, a almost feudal construct with multiple cultures. And St. Augustine himself was not Italian or Roman. He was from Northern Africa. And yet he changed his attitude towards norms and rules and the social engagement piece to that of Rome. That we're not questioning, at least I am not. However, you can't make yourself somebody that you're not, right? You're going to be disingenuous. I'm not sure who said it. I want to say it was Oscar Wilde, but I might be misquoting. Like, be yourself because everybody else is taken. So you can't be somebody else, right? So by trying so hard to be Roman or to be whatever location you're entering, you are leaving not only a bad taste in your mouth because you feel like you're a fraud, but people will notice that you're not you. They will notice, okay, he's putting on or she's putting on an act. Is that what you want to be? I doubt it.
Yeah, that's right. And that can, if you're in a place where your credibility depends on you being authentic to who you are, and being true to who you are, then exercising all parts of your identity is going to gain you credibility, while at the same time being very observant, being aware of your own self-conscious, your own self, and what values and beliefs you hold, and how they may inform how you react to the behaviors of the people around you, right? And the rules, even the laws of the country can sometimes be a little bit confronting for us if we go to some more fundamental places, either in any religious context, for example. So fundamental places like that where we don't practice the faith, and perhaps we may even disagree with the exercise of that faith, but we still, when we're there, we still have to observe and maybe reach out and understand. But certainly we're not going to, go the full hog and convert to the faith to understand it. You don't need to do that. There are wonderfully generous people in amongst all these places in the world that, if you show true intent of curiosity, of understanding, you can get to a point where you can. You don't have to lose yourself. You can be yourself. They will allow you to be yourself, and then you can exercise your management skills and your management style in that setting, being respectful of the setting as well.
Our mutual friend Andy Molinsky, who wrote the book Global Dexterity, a book that I highly recommend you all read if you're interested in working across cultures, he coined a phrase, the zone of appropriate behavior. What is appropriate for you, right? So none of us have one default way of acting. We're not always this collectivist or this group oriented or this individualist. We have a bandwidth of what is appropriate for us given certain situations. So we can be a little bit more collectivist with our family members and probably a little bit more individualistic with our colleagues at work or in a business context, and yet both are appropriate for us in that context. So the bandwidth of what is appropriate for us is something that we can train, we can practice for ourselves. I remember I used to be a lot less flexible around my directness. So my default setting in communication is hyper direct, very straight to the point, and sometimes quite confrontational. So that's my default factory setting. However, over the years, I learned to expand what I find to be appropriate and still effective and efficient communication, to be not as confrontational, not as direct. And it's still me. I'm still looking myself in the mirror and thinking, okay, I'm still I, right? I'm not pretending I'm somebody else. So it is upon us to practice the behavioral bandwidth and the flexibility. It's almost, usually I have a rubber band around my wrist, so you can stretch that like a muscle. And it's something that takes continuous practice. And if you don't, then you'll not act like a Roman. Nowhere, ever.
Nowhere, never. But I think it's important, though, when we're working with clients, that we try and put the idea in their mind is that, yes, we can talk about the culture you're going to all day, right? We can think about either the generalizations, the practices, the management styles, all these kind of things. But I think the next step is to be comfortable enough to reach out to new colleagues and be open enough, humble enough to say, hey, I want you to learn about what I might do, right? And then it becomes an open conversation about, and a very fruitful conversation in many ways, because you're sharing what you may bring to the table and the advantages that might bring in terms of decision making and management styles and project management. And then you can take that little bit, the things that you value in them that they could bring to the table as well, right? And really make this work together. This is a team effort, no matter where you are in the world, right? Human behavior is drawn to that, right? We're drawn to each other and connectedness. Now, if you start off on the wrong foot by being over, as I say, disingenuous, you're trying too hard, people can look at you and go, yeah, that doesn't seem to be the person that maybe came with the reputation that I thought they came with. There might be even some cultures that will give you enough rope to hang yourself. You might go to, let's assume maybe you might go to a place like Germany and they'll call you out on it, right? But in a very serious way. You go to Australia, they'll call you out on it, but they'll do it in a joking way. They'll give you a bit of rope. They'll let you hang yourself until you realize
you go to China and they offer you all sorts of food in a very gentle way, and they're going to be very good hosts, and you learn when in Shanghai, do as the people from Shanghai do, right? And you think you need to try all the foods that they put in front of you, and
all the drink,
and all the drink, and sure enough, they'll test your Chineseness.
Absolutely.
Here we got a comment from Sandra. If one straw, is it Sandra or Sandra? Forgive me, Sandra, if I didn't get it right the first time. If one strives to lose themselves in the drive to assimilate, it robs the new environment of the richness of other perspectives and traditions. Beautiful. It should be more about being sensitive / aware of things that might offend, but not about becoming 100% a copy of the new environment at the cost of losing your own values. Nice.
Nice.
I guess we have somebody who sees it the same way that we do. Thank you for commenting. Love it, love it, love it. And then we've got another comment that is reminding us that the calendar has been approaching. Frank is asking where the Christmas suits at. They're back in the closet. I only wear them once a year. That's enough, Frank. All right.
Is that right? What about decorations? I mean, we can have our decorations up. This is the thing. This is another cultural thing.
But you don't decorate me.
I don't decorate you, no. But some people take decorations as soon as Christmas is done. You know, they play Christmas music here in Chicago, and it's Christmas Day's done. It's off.
Really?
But it's done. But then I've got 1 foot in the Polish community. Our decorations stay up. I mean, Christmas goes through a whole bunch of different celebrations all through January. So
Well, when in Chicago, when in Atlanta, right? So I don't do it like the Atlantans or the Italians do. My tree is up, on our tree is up until January the 6th, till Epiphany, and then we flip it out. What about you?
It's out. Yeah, no, we've had ours out until like end of January.
And then again, we didn't purchase it the week before Thanksgiving either, right? So ours came late into the house.
Yeah. No, that's that. But anyway, that's the reason why we're not wearing our outfits. We might bring them back. I don't know. Who knows?
Next year. Now but this is another example of how much do we bend, right? How much do we want to adjust to the norms or what is the right way of doing things? I still eat the way that my grandmother taught me, by slapping my fingers if I didn't do it right, and that doesn't look like most Americans eat. I didn't become full-on American in my table etiquette. No, I did not. I did bend to a certain degree, what's still appropriate to me, but I would not think it appropriate for myself to take on a different norm. And does that make me less successful? Does it actually help me start a conversation with a complete stranger or with a new business partner that I met for a lunch, and then we have a reason to converse about, hey, I notice you hold your fork differently than I do. What's that all about? Oh, okay, let's talk about this. Boom, connection, right? So becoming Roman, it's not working anyway, and trying to become Roman if you're not isn't going to help you either. Just allow your own beauty, your own identity to shine through, and adjust as much as you need in order to be successful. Don't lose yourself in the process.
No, that's right. I can tell you the story about the first time I went to Poland. I did realize that they slurp their soups in Poland. So when I went to meet my new prospective in-laws, I slurped my soup as loud as I possibly could.
I didn't know that.
But I was still waiting for that clipper behind the ear that I knew would come if my mother was anywhere near it.
Right.
There's that visceral feeling, right? I'm not doing what's comfortable here, right? But I'm doing what I think is appropriate and respectful in this case, to show appreciation for something that has been served to me. That's okay. These are funny little stories and anecdotes that we give, right?
And yet they're relevant because, as you said earlier, what if the place, Rome or wherever in the world, what if the place doesn't turn out to be the way you thought it was going to be? If somebody had told you because they learned about their version of Rome half a lifetime ago, and things changed, right?
Yeah.
I think it was old Martin Luther who was quoted as saying, "Why aren't you barping and farting? Did it not, was it not to your taste?" Apparently, some 500 years ago, that was the norm around the table. Do it
Yeah.
now, and you'll get some strange looks.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're not saying you can't try it. We're not holding you back. Well, you can
No,
be you.
do as you,
Be you.
it's within your zone of appropriateness, right?
Don't come to our house and do it. Or go to Christian's house. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, you can come to my house and you'll get interesting looks at least. All right.
Wonderful.
What's for dinner? Pasta
Oh,
romanesca?
dinner today is still leftover Christmas fare.
No, it's got to be something Roman today. Come on, let's.
Oh, but Roman? No, don't know. Nothing Italian. No,
Okay.
no pasta. No
No
pasta,
pasta.
no pizza. We're waiting for that for New Year's Eve.
All right. Well, apparently, when in Chicago in a Polish Australian household, they don't eat Italian food on December 28th. So there we go. Now we have it.
That's right. Now you know.
Now we know. No, I guess that's it for now, right? Rome is there, has always been there. It's the eternal city, and nobody suffered from not being like them. They like being themselves, and we like being ourselves. And we'll see you again tomorrow for yet another episode of Two Chaps, Many Cultures.
Bye now.
Bye.